Today's episode of Region Race, Episode 6, focuses exclusively on Region 3A. We approach the final weekend of the season. I've been following this region so closely that I just figured this is what I have to share this week. This is what is most interesting to me, hopefully to you too. So I thought that Saturday's game between Laney and Butler would have been the first or the last big occurrence in this region during the regular season. And it would have been fine had that been the case. It was a great matchup. I did a big video on it afterwards. I did a big post on Laney coach Buck Harris a couple days ago. Heck of a way to what I thought at the time was end the regular season when it comes to region standings and who was going to end where. But I was wrong because last night, Tuesday night, Westside threw a big monkey wrench into region standings and by upsetting Washington County at home, 42-41. Christian Robinson, sophomore point guard, made a free throw with 0.4 seconds remaining to win that game. I just happened to this morning have scheduled a huge post about Westside, their underclassmen, and also Josie's, and so that was kind of timely. But that really threw a monkey wrench into things. You see the region standings here. Now the key is what comes up this weekend. There are 3 games that, from what I can tell, are very key. You have Glen Hills at Westside Friday, Washington County at Laney Friday, and Laney at Josie Saturday. Now, I'll try to describe why these games are important and what they can mean. If the Glen Hills Westside winner decides the 5th and 6th seeds, from what I can tell. All this is based on my understanding of the rules and the tiebreakers and all that kind of stuff. So this is not official GHSA stuff, thank goodness. But Glen Hills and Westside, the winner of that will decide the 5th and 6th seeds. And that's important because you know it tells who they will face in the first round of the region tournament next week. Now, even more interesting is Waco at Laney. If Waco's able to beat Laney, then they'll be the number 2 seed. They'll get Hephzibah in the first round, and that'll be that. But if Laney beats Washington County, which Laney has beaten everybody all year, sorry to say it, but then Washington County will either finish 3rd or 4th, and Butler will finish 2nd. Unless Josie is able to also beat Laney Saturday. This is pretty far out stuff. But if Josie's also able to beat Laney Saturday, then Josie jumps all the way to the 2nd spot, from what I can tell. And then in that scenario, Butler would be 3rd and Waco would be 4th. There's a lot of moving parts here, but the key is Washington County can end anywhere between 2nd, 3rd, or 4th. Butler can end anywhere between, I think, 2nd and 3rd, and Josie can be 2nd or 4th. And I hope I got most of that right. But the keys are this Friday, this Saturday. Why does any of this matter a whole lot? Well, in my opinion, that 4th slot is the slot to avoid because the top 2 finishers in region tournament play start out state tournament action at home. So you want to have one of those 2 slots. And if you're in the 4th slot and you beat number 5 in the first game, then you get Laney in the semifinals, and that will be a tough win to get. And if you don't get it, regardless of what happens in the consolation round for 3rd place, you're going to be on the road. So Josie, Butler, Washington County, in my opinion, everybody would want to avoid that 4th slot. Now, that's a lot of standings and coin flips and tiebreakers and all that kind of stuff. Let's get back to the court. There's 3 things that I'd like to cover on the court. Fun things, interesting things to me. The first involving Laney. You can't talk about basically Augusta High School basketball, and for sure not 3A basketball, without, at this point in the year, without reviewing what Laney has accomplished. 22 straight wins after losing their home opener, or I'm sorry, their road opener to a great St. Francis team. I wrote a lot about that. And I'll share one more thing. I was texting with Will Avery last night, and he mentioned something that I think is kind of interesting, and that is he mentioned how Laney wins by committee, and that's what makes them so scary. That was a pretty profound statement, and very true. Different guys step up every night, and it made me think of something. And I don't have the exact figure for this, but I don't remember a Laney player scoring 25, 30, 35 points in any game this year. It may have happened, but usually the Laney leading scorers are, there's Christian Keeling, Jayshon Brooks, Colin Young, Zep Jasper, Jalen Taylor. 2 or 3 or 4 of those guys, or even 5, will be in double figures. You'll usually have 2 or 3 guys with 13, 14, 15 points. And a couple times I think Jayshon has scored 20 or 21, and Christian and guys like that. But you never see a guy with like 30 points. Now, there's nothing wrong with having guys that score a lot of points, but Will had a great point about Laney being so scary because of that balance. And you can't take one guy out and take Laney out. And with all those weapons, there's bound to be 1, 2, 3, 4 guys who have a good enough game, especially with the way they play defense, to win. Now, so hats off to that crew, and they've been extremely fun to watch this season. So I mentioned how there's nothing wrong with one guy scoring a lot of points, and so last weekend I watched Butler play at Westside and Josie play at Westside, and so 2 of the most exciting players to watch are Don Coleman and Darius Williams of Butler and Josie. And so Don reached the 2,000 point mark this week against Hepzibah Tuesday. I did a big thing on it on the AUG B-Ball Instagram account where I counted down each of his field goals as he eclipsed that mark. What a fun guy to watch. And Friday night at Westside was no exception. I went to Westside to cover the Westside underclassmen, DeMontrez Hawes, Christian Robinson, and Elijah Brown, and I did a big blog post on the blog about them. But while I was there, as always, Don and the rest of the Butler guys put on, a exciting show as always. And so, I wanted to, after talking about Laney's by committee, Butler also has a great team, great balance. But there's one guy on that team that I've always just enjoyed watching so much. So I wanted to share some of the cool things he did Friday, and then also Saturday, Darius Williams. Darius has been a guy, he's been scorching the Nets for 4 years. This year I've covered him a lot, but it's always been, except for one game, it's always been against Butler, Washington County, Laney, and Josie's had a great season, but those teams are teams that Josie's been unable to beat. So when I do my coverage, I usually highlight the team that has been successful a little more than the team that lost that night. So Darius has done some amazing things all season, and I've highlighted him for sure, but it seems like I'm always giving a little more attention to the winning team in those cases. So Darius had 38 points against Westside Saturday, and he did some things on the court that were really exciting, and so I enjoyed getting a chance to watch that game film afterwards, because I was at the Laney Butler game. But it was fun as always. It's always fun to watch Darius play. And so those are 2 guys who, while Laney does it by committee, Butler and Josie have always, had their engines run by primarily by Don Coleman and Darius Williams. And those 2 guys are seniors, and we will not see them play high school basketball in our area after about 30 days from now. So I suggest everybody do what I'm going to do, which is get in that Laney gym next week and soak in all the Region 3A tournament action possible, because this we will see basketball this good again in our area. I am confident, but I'm not sure when. This senior class, these groups of teams have accomplished some things this year that are very, very impressive, and it's been great to watch. And we get one more week of all of them being in one gym, all of them competing for pride and region tournament results and berths and home court advantage in the state playoffs. And so, you know, I won't miss it. I hope you don't miss it. And if so, I will see you in the gym.